This video is to help you with variables and radicals. So let's just review numbers first. If you have the square root of 16, you know that 16 is 4 times 4. And so you've got a pair here, and the square root, you're looking for pairs. You're looking for something that's a square. So you've got 4 for the answer. The square root of 16 is 4. Likewise, the cube root of 27, again you're looking for groups of 3, and 27 is 3 times 3 times 3, so that gives you the cube, oops, that should have a cube root there. The cube root of 27 is 3. Now the cube root of 81 is not a perfect cube, but you can find a cube in it. So 3 cubed is 27, as we showed in the example above, times 3 gives me 81. So the cube root of the 27 is 3, but I'm left with the cube root of 3. So that would be my final answer. Now the same kind of thing happens when we have variables involved. So if I had the square root of x, I know that the square root of x is just x, because x times x gives me the x squared. X to the fourth, the square root of x to the fourth, well, x to the fourth could be rewritten as x squared times x squared. And so the square root of something squared is just that something. The same thing with x to the 16th. I can rewrite that as x to the 8th times x to the 8th. And the square root of x to the 8th squared basically is x to the 8th. X to the 15th, well, x to the 14th I could find because that would be x to the 7th. X to the 7th times x to the 7th gives me x to the 14th. So the square root of x to the 7th squared is x to the 7th. Square root x is left. Now you may be noticing here that my root is 2. If I divide 16, the power, by 2, I get 8, which became my answer, x to the 8th. Also down here, I have my root 2. If I divide 15 by 2, I get 7. Look at the answer. I get 7 with 1 left over. Okay, let's look at cube roots. The cube root of a number cubed is just that number. The cube root of x to the 6th could be rewritten as x to the 3rd times x to the 3rd. So we already know that x to the 3rd is simply x. X times x is x squared. X to the 15th could be rewritten x to the 5th, x times x to the 5th times x to the 5th. So I have 3 x to the 5th, so I have my answer would be x to the 5th. X to the 19th. I could divide that up into groups of 6. So x to the 6th times x to the 6th times x to the 6th. Well, the cube root of all of those gives me x to the 6th. So now I'm left with just the cube root of x inside. Now again, you may notice that 3, my root, divided into my power inside here, it just gives me 1, 3 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2, because you're really looking at how many groups of 3 are there. So here, my power is 15. 3 divided into 15 gives me x to the 5th, because I had 3 groups of x to the 5th. Now, 19 is not divisible by 3, so when I do that, I get 19 divided by 3 is 6, remainder 1. But notice in my answer, I was able to get 3 complete groups of x to the 6th with the 1 left over that stayed inside the radicand. Now with variables and any root, and we can use that same procedure. So I know that 23 divided by 4 is x to the 5th. So I was able to group together 4 groups of x to the 5th, but then I had 3 left over. So for the next one, I can't do anything with that x squared, but my my y to the 6th power, I could have that as y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd, and my z, y to the 3rd, or excuse me, z to the 3rd times z. So again, here I've underlined the ones that have cube roots. So I can go, this would be y times y, which is y squared, and then z. And then inside the radical, I'm left with x squared z. For the next one, let's use the division, see if we can do it in one step. So I'm going to have the 4th root of something. Okay, 8 divided by 4 is 2, so I know I'm going to have x squared. I have 2 groups of x to the 4th. Y would be 7 divided by 4 goes 1 time, with 3 left over. And how many groups of z to the 4th, and it would just be 1. 4 divides into 4 one time, so this would be my final answer. Okay, let's try one with a number in it. This is a square root, so the square root of 100 is 10, 10 times 10. For x cubed, well, 2, because that's the square root, divides into 3 one time, with 1 left over, so I know I'm going to have 1x left inside. And then 2 divides into 4 divided by 2 is 2, so it would be y squared. Okay, now you try these. So pause the video and then come back and check your work. These would be good examples to add to your notes and in your win book.